Okay, I'm going to see Atomic Blonde, and I don't really know what to say about this film going into it. Basically, the only reason I'm really going out of my way to watch this movie in theaters and see it is because the director, David Leitch, something like that. The director of this film, he also worked on John Wick, which is one of my favorite action films, as many people know. And he was a co-director on John Wick. And this is his first solo directing film. And I really want to see what he can do, because he's directing the Deadpool sequel. And I'm, as anybody of you guys know, I'm a big Deadpool fan. I mean, look at me. I'm always decked out in Deadpool something. And I kind of want to see what he can do solo. So this film is basically going to be my gateway into whether or not I agree with the fact that he's directing the Deadpool sequel. I mean, I'm partially leaning towards he's going to do a good job because of John Wick, but again, he was a co-director on that. And his other co-director directed John Wick 2, which was just as good, if not better, than the first one. Nah, I wouldn't say it was better. It was just as good as the first one. So, yeah, I kind of want to see what he can do. Other than that, I don't really know what else to say about this. It's got a great cast. Charlize Theron is in it. She's fantastic. I love her. She's one of my favorite actresses. I know there's this trailer or this commercial going out saying that, like, this is the female James Bond. And I'm like, alright, sure, yeah. If Charlize Theron is the female James Bond, I'm okay with that. James McAvoy is in it. He's always fun. John Goodman's in it. It's got a good cast, and that's kind of all I really got to say about this film going in. Hopefully it lives up to the expectations. It probably will. I mean, my expectations are not really high, not really low for it. Just kind of in the middle. Just kind of like, yeah, all right. This should be interesting. So, yeah, that's my thoughts going in. Going to see Atomic Blonde. I'll see you guys when I get out.
Fasten your seatbelt.
The clock is ticking.
I'm impressed.
So, I just saw a movie where Charlize Theron has a lesbian sex scene with Sofia Boutella. This movie was amazing. So, yeah, I just saw Atomic Blonde, and, it was alright. It had some decent moments, and it wasn't anything really special. I didn't take notes for this one. I forgot my notepad again. So I'm just gonna kind of ramble off a bit, and hopefully there's some good stuff in here that I can edit together into a good review. Let's start with some of the positive things in this film. Well, Charlize Theron, for one, is an incredible presence in this film. She does a very good job with the action scenes and the choreography. This is her film, and she owns every single second that she's on screen, and she commits to the role very, very well. There's scenes where she's in different makeup, she's wearing different hairstyles. She's a chameleon. She changes a lot, and that's a very interesting thing to watch. One of the things I also admire about this film is that she gets the crap beaten out of her. And usually in action films, when a female gets in a fight, she might get like a little battered, a little bruised, maybe like a little cut on the thing. It's one of those things where they try to rough her up, but they always make her they still want her to look pretty. And this film doesn't do that. This film, when Charlize Theron gets beaten up, she looks brutalized. She's got bruises and blood and just like her lumps in her skin, and just she's swelling up, and it looks a lot more realistic that way. And I kind of admire this film for doing that. I kind of admire this film for having a female action lead where she doesn't have to look pretty all the time, especially when she's getting the crap beat out of her. Another positive in this film is the action scenes. One action scene in particular, actually. There's an action scene around the climax of the film. We've seen one-take action scenes done before. It's really nothing new. But never like this. Usually one-take action scenes are short, they're very complicated, and usually they're hand-to-hand. You very rarely see a one-take car chase or a one-take gunfight. This film has a one-take action scene, a scene that is literally one continuously long take that runs for about 10 minutes. And it has hand-to-hand combat, it has a gunfight, it has a car chase, and it's all one continuous scene that goes from one to the next. And it's beautiful. It's honestly, that action scene alone might be worth seeing this movie just for that. What else can I talk about? The director. Visually, this guy has a very good visual style. He's very good when it comes to colors, and this is a very beautiful but also very gritty film. There's a lot of neon colors, a lot of blues and yellows, which I'm a sucker for. I love when films have blues and yellow contrast. It's a very nice looking film. It definitely puts my mind at ease when it comes to the fact that he's directing Deadpool 2. What I'm worried about, however, is that the plot and story in this movie is kind of lame. Actually, no, it's not kind of lame. It's just kind of overstuffed, I guess is the best word to put it. This film it's a spy film, and honestly, there's so much stuff going on that you kind of almost get lost, and it's a little overwhelming. I mean, at one point, the main character has to find the MacGuffin, she has to protect this guy with valuable information, and she has to find the traitor within the spy agency. And any one of those three plots alone would have made a very good movie. But putting all three of them together in one film feels a little like you're trying to be a little too complicated, or you're trying to make up for the fact that really there isn't much story here. A lot of the story is just kind of meandering about and going from action set piece to action set piece. It's a very plot-focused story, not a very strong character story. And sadly, character is one of the things that is very, very much needed in movies, especially this movie. Charlize Theron, as great as she is as an actor, and as amazing as performance is, and she really does deserve credit for giving it her all in this film, it's really not that interesting of a character. I can't really explain her or what drives her. What is the emotional drive of this film? At one point they make it kind of seem like she had a relationship with the spy that was killed, and she's doing this as kind of like revenge or vengeance, I guess. But then, literally, like, maybe half an hour later, she's sleeping it up with Sofia Boutella, and she's all flirtatious and stuff, and it's like, okay, so obviously and they never really bring it up again. It's like, oh yeah, I guess she's over this guy that she apparently had a relationship with. I guess I'll go through some of the actors here. John Goodman, he's good. He's barely in it. James McAvoy, he's one of the highlights of this film. Him and Charlize Theron are up there at the top. And I like their banter, and I like how they play off each other. It's interesting. Sofia Boutella. She's an actress that I've never really seen much from. I know she's from the Kingsman movies, and she was very good in that. And apparently she was the Mummy in the Mummy remake. I skipped that movie, and I don't know how she was in that film. But I was actually kind of pleasantly surprised with her. I think I remember her saying that she was originally a dancer before she became an actress. And she's a very good actress. There's a scene in this film where she's confessing to Charlize Theron that she's a little in over her head. She didn't really think that being a spy was that difficult, or would have been that difficult. So she's in over her head, and she's confessing to Charlize Theron, and she's basically like letting she's pouring her heart out, and I bought it. She did a very good job in that scene, and I liked her character, and I was kind of interested to see where they would go with that. Yeah, other than that, there really wasn't any standout performances in this movie. It was just kind of, I guess this movie is the definition of just meh, you know? It had some good action scenes. It had a very great female lead, who definitely had a lot of dedication to the role. But honestly, it's just kind of a standard film. A standard action movie. It just kind of goes, it's just there to have a few action scenes, and the action scenes that it does have are very good, but I don't know, I would have liked to have a little bit more character. I would have liked to have a little bit more of an emotional attachment to these characters. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of my thoughts coming out of Atomic Blonde. It was alright. It wasn't anything special. So, if you like this movie review, hit that like button, and if you saw the film and want to share your thoughts and opinions on it, by all means, post below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you want to see more movie reviews published every Friday, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.